adventure in India began with two very long flights from LAX to Calcutta, the first capital of India. In Calcutta, we were immediately surrounded by the constant sounds of horns, traffic, and the massive humanity moving around the city. In the middle of all this is the elegant and serene Oberoi Hotel, where we stay for 2 nights. But soon we venture outside to check out the open market that completely surrounds the hotel. During a short tour of the city, we stopped to stroll through the busy lanes of idol makers' workshops, where statues and figurines are constructed and decorated for religious offerings and festivals. Later, we visited St. John's Church, which was built in 1787 and is the 3rd largest in Kolkata. Afterwards, we strolled beside the Hooghly River, a distributor of the Ganges. The Victoria Memorial is a museum built in 1921 to honor Queen Victoria. Her bronze statue is a centerpiece of the 64-acre gardens that surround the White Marble Museum. Our final stop on our short tour was to visit the Missionaries of Charities, the home, office, and final resting place of Mother Teresa. "16 travelers met with our trip leader in New Delhi to begin this India adventure. 10 of us started in Kolkata and Bhutan, where we spent a week. The others flew directly from the U.S. Our 2-week itinerary focused on some of the most historic and important cultural sites of northern India. Flying from Bhutan to New Delhi across the Himalayas, we were treated to a beautiful view of Mount Everest on a clear day. Our 5-star hotel, the Claridges, was located close to stately mansions and embassies guarded by large gates and heavy security. Our first activity was a visit to the memorial of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of Indian democracy. Here too, we are introduced by our trip leader Seema to the importance of the Hindu religion and philosophy.
And when they go there, they do almost the same gesture that they would do in a temple. So they all fold their hands and they all bow their heads in front of the memorial as a mark of respect to this departed man. And on the other side, you find the flame. Do you see the flame there? Now that flame again is very, very symbolic. It represents the eternal soul. As per the Hindu faith and philosophy, we believe that death is not really the end, but it is really a period of transition because the soul is eternal. It doesn't die. So you leave one body to reincarnate in a different body, and the life that you get next time, it depends on the karmas that you have done in your previous lives. And karma is all about the thoughts, the words, and the deeds and the actions that you have done. So Hinduism is a lot about karma and your belief in karma. Defang, so you don't have the poison. Remove the poison.
How do we handle the money?
You can just
Put it near him.
The Jama Masjid is one of the largest mosques in India. It was built by the Mughal emperor between 1644 and 1656 and constructed primarily of red sandstone and marble. The courtyard can hold up to 25,000 worshippers. To get a real understanding of Indian life, there is no better experience than taking a ride on a rickshaw or walking through the narrow lanes of Old Delhi, where daily business is conducted, surrounded by crowds of people, bicycles, motor scooters, rickshaws, and goats, and the constant blaring of horns. Delhi is India's political capital, and its government offices are in New Delhi and not far from India Gate, the national memorial to 70,000 soldiers who died in the years 1914 to 1921. In a park near the India Gate, we come across men playing a game of cricket, India's national sport.
boundary. Yeah. They are different teams playing.
The Sikh religion began in the 15th century. They believe that there is only one God and that all people are created equal, men, women, all races and religions. They reject the caste system common to Hindus. This temple, the largest and most prominent in Delhi, includes the Gurudharma or temple itself, a huge purifying pond, and a large kitchen. The complex also houses a secondary school, museum, library, and hospital. But it is most famous for serving free meals daily to all who come, as many as 25,000 per day on weekends, all provided and served by workers and volunteers. Qutub Minar is a minaret, the centerpiece of several significant monuments, all designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The red sandstone and marble tower is the tallest of its kind in India and dates back to the 12th century. We left after breakfast for the long drive to Jaipur. Along the way, we made a brief rest stop at McDonald's, where there is no beef in their burgers. Indians consider cows sacred, and most of them are domesticated. We stopped for a longer time at the small town of Shahpura. We got into several jeeps and rode through the village and up narrow roads to a restored 18th century castle, which is now a small hotel that looks like a palace. Here we were treated to a very nice buffet lunch. Our room at Jaipur's Lemon Tree Premier was most unusual because of the glass window between the bathroom and the bedroom areas. In the morning, we walked across the street to see the milk market. Here they separate milk and cream, make milk products like ice cream, and distribute by trucks all over the city. There's even a notary public here to serve the business people who come here. A primary objective this morning was a visit to the Astronomical and Astrological Observatory, a collection of 19 architectural instruments that were completed in 1734 and is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The engineering was so precise that the largest sundials are accurate to only 2 seconds. Jaipur is called the Pink City because of the color of the stone used for construction of most buildings. In 1876, the pink color was ordered by the Maharaja as a color of hospitality in honor of a visit by the Prince of Wales and Queen Victoria. The tradition of maintaining the pink color is now the law. In the late afternoon, we visited a Hindu temple. These are much simpler in design than other temples we have visited. We found it striking that both Christian and Jewish icons were embedded in structural columns. That evening we had a great dinner at the Barbecue Nation and there was a birthday celebration for Valerie. Afterwards, the restaurant staff performed Bollywood-type dancing. Another major site near Jaipur is the 16th century Amber Fort, also known as the Amber Palace, located high on a hill overlooking the village of Amer and Mayota Lake. Jeeps were again necessary to ride up the narrow roads through the village to reach the entrance.
Skeletons going out there.
I know, that would have been quite cool. That's a girl.
They're very hard guys. 10 pen complete for 2 days. 10 only. The stone pen.
Here we were surrounded by the most aggressive street vendors we had met so far, but they could only follow us into the main courtyard, where tourists were riding on the backs of elephants.
One, two, three. All India three. Relax, beautiful table cover, bed cover, all that.
You have your safety glasses. Oh, Simon's up there.
Or it could be up in the...
There are several courtyards on different levels of the fort complex, including the public audience hall and the Sheesh Mahal, a palace covered with tiny mirror mosaics and glass on the second level. Yet another level are the Mughal gardens with a star-shaped pool at the center and some living accommodations for the kings, queens, and mistresses or concubines. Near one of the exits is a modern art gallery. Outside is a huge high-heeled women's shoe sculptured with embedded human skulls. Near the town of Amer is an abandoned palace in the middle of the lake. In the evening, we broke up into smaller groups for home-hosted family dinners. Our dinner was hosted by Rav and Binu Sorrel. One son and daughter-in-law, both of them doctors, live with them along with their 2 granddaughters. The next morning, we began another long drive to Ranthambore, where we would spend 2 nights and visit India's famous tiger reserve. Along the way, we stopped beside the highway to walk through a vegetable market. We were driving toward Ranthambore in a desert-like area when we saw an oasis in the distance. It turned out to be our next 5-star elegant hotel. Getting in and out of our room required use of a big heavy key with this padlock and bolt. The next day, early in the morning and late in the afternoon, we climbed onto jeep-like vehicles called canters and rode on very bumpy roads into Ranthambore National Park to see if we can see the Royal Bengal tiger and other wild animals in this 245 square mile tiger reserve.
Take a good picture, right? This is my
Another highlight of our stay in Ranthambore was a day in the life in a small village. We began with a morning visit to a school where many of the students were taking exams. Then we took a 15-minute walk through the village to have chai tea at the home of a farmer and his family.
They all live together in their house.
Want to see?
All right, let's go. If anybody wants,
Oh, yeah.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe. Brush your teeth. Brush it every day. Father, mother, brother, sister. Father, mother, brother. Wash your face. Wash your face. Wash it every day. Father, mother, brother, sister. Father, mother, brother.
No more.
I only have...
Later, we visited a women's cooperative started by a woman named Divya, who has lectured at UC Berkeley.
our organization is called Dhonk or D-Honk, whichever is easier to remember. And basically, it's a project which was started by legendary conservationist Fateh Singh Rathod for just one purpose, which was to give alternative employment to the ex-poachers' families. We mainly work with the people who were hunting the tigers back in 2005. So we try to go to their houses and try to wean them from their traditional occupation and teach them craft. And for almost 3 years, this program was running in the little garage of my house, where we were experimenting with different craft processes and native origin, and mostly the people who worked with us were the widows of this community. The interesting thing was that it was at that time a very solo kind of venture. We didn't have any background of what we were doing. I was a dietitian by profession, and all the women, they knew how to skin a deer, or they knew how to make the proper cuts of animals and sell them in the market.
After shopping and a nice lunch at the cooperative, we left the village and drove to the OAT camp, where we would spend a night in an upscale tent.
Oh, what is this?
Samosa.
Samosa.
Vegetable inside. Mashed
Oh,
potato.
okay.
So today we have a cooking class. So here, Mr. Raju Tamang, he is our chef here.
Namaste.
He is a very good chef. So today we are cooking spinach and potato, the dry curry, spinach and potato. We're gonna put a cumin seed first, and when it turns, the cumin seed turns into a little brownish, we put a red chopped onions.
Before we left camp in the morning, the staff dressed us up in traditional Indian headgear and pants for group pictures. Step wells were invented to harvest rainwater and were used as cool places for retreat during dry times of the year. This one is the largest and deepest in India and was built in 800 to 900 AD. It is over 13 stories deep with 3,500 steps. In the corridors are many broken sculptures of gods and goddesses, which were defamed by Muslim invaders centuries ago. Afterwards, we took the long drive to Agra, home of the Taj Mahal. There was always lots of bottled water on the bus and in the hotels, especially because of the very hot and dry weather, with temperatures exceeding 104 degrees. We watched two women finishing a floor using a mixture of mostly cow dung. The Taj Mahal is located on the banks of the Yamuna River, surrounded by a 42-acre garden. Built of white marble with embedded gemstones, it was completed in 1648 AD and directed by the emperor in memory of his wife, who died during birth of her 14th child. The guest house and cloisters on either side of the complex are built of red sandstone. Later, we visited a marble factory and bought a small table made with the same white marble and gemstones used in the Taj in a similar pattern. Our hotel in Agra was the magnificent JP Palace, and its beautiful interiors and exteriors were a magnet for photography. The Agra fort was the main residence of emperors until 1638. It is actually a walled city encompassing 94 acres. A wooden drawbridge is the main entrance, and inside are audience halls, palaces, gardens, and 2 mosques, and of course accommodations for the emperor, the empresses, and concubines and mistresses. We took a train for a 3-hour journey to Jhansi, where we had lunch before driving another 4 hours to Khajaharu. En route, we picked up a Sunday newspaper where they regularly publish ads for men and women seeking brides and grooms. These are listed according to traditional Indian castes. In India, most couples try to marry within their caste. The Khajuraho temples are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Built in 900 to 1100 AD, they are considered the most beautiful medieval monuments in India because of their architecture and their intricate carvings. They are particularly famous for their erotic sculptures, illustrating various forms of lovemaking. Many archaeologists believe the sex symbolism of these sculptures represents the union of individual souls with universal spirit. We flew from Khajuraho to Varanasi from the spectacular new airport, which replaced an older one. Yet it only has about 10 flights a week that arrive and depart here. Varanasi is believed to be one of the oldest cities in the world, and it is the spiritual capital of India. It is the destination where most Hindus want to spend their last days, as they believe that a person who dies in this sacred place can attain salvation.
A wheelchair and a cow.
Pilgrims come to the ghats, or stairs along the river embankment, to wash away their sins by bathing in the Ganges River or to cremate their loved ones.
They can become a teacher. It depends.
After sunrise on the Ganges, we returned to the hotel and later on walked nearby to visit a silk weaving factory. Here they use very complex looms, with design programs punched into stacks of cards high above the looms to direct the specific threads to be used in these intricate designs. Later at the hotel, it was cocktails and birthday cake for Karen, before we went upstairs to see a private performance of sitar and tabla music. On another boat ride after sunset on the river, we passed many cremation fires. Hindus believe that washing and cremating their dead bodies and throwing their ashes in the Ganges will allow them to move to a higher plane of well-being. Every evening after sunset, there is a Hindu fire ceremony attended by thousands that are performed by priests to honor the holy river, the gods and goddesses. Our boat was squeezed in besides dozens of others to watch the nightly rituals. We returned to the hotel, surrounded by the usual variety of heavy traffic. But tomorrow we would fly back to Delhi and rest a while before heading back home to the U.S.
জেগে জেগে হয়ে গেল ভোর, ঋষি দেখো মিস হলো তোর।